Good day there. And boy, do I have an interesting topic for you today. Let me bring you back to an older time in history when I was a young imp of a child. And one day, my father received an iPad from my mother with Angry Birds on it. By extension, my dad ended up letting me play Angry Birds occasionally, and I think it may have been one of the first video games I've ever played, if not the first, but ever since I've always loved this series of games. The simple gameplay clicked with me particularly well, and I still don't quite understand why fully, but hey, I'm still happy. That's what matters to me. There wasn't much activity for me in terms of these games for a while longer, so fast forward to 2017. My mom got me an iPad mini for Christmas, and one of the first games I got on that thing was Angry Birds 2. And Angry Birds and Angry Birds Space. And this is when my obsession truly started. Day in, day out, I would play these damn games excessively. The games were oozing with personality. And all had something fun to offer. Although I particularly love Angry Birds Space for the soundtrack alone. The ambience is god tier. Seriously, I would highly recommend listening to it. It's on YouTube. Seriously, I'm not joking. It is so good. Anyways, back to my little backstory. I also loved watching the show on Netflix. Even though the birds never spoke, they had so much personality. And it really did force the writers to get creative. It really hammers in the whole show don't tell thing. Very good memories associated with that show. Holds up. It's a shame it got removed from Netflix, though. And then there's the movies. I guess I thought they were fine, I guess. I don't honestly have much to say about them. They're okay. And there is a third one coming out soon, which is kind of cool, but yeah, moving on. Another Angry Birds game I used to play a bunch was Angry Birds Epic and Angry Birds Go. Angry Birds Go is exactly what it sounds like, a multiplayer racer, but with a really unique spin that I haven't seen done really anywhere else before. You're all speeding downhill, which means acceleration is particularly difficult. And all the carts have a very makeshift vibe. This game is great. Well, at least version 1, not version 2, but I'll get to that later. It has a lot of really unique challenges and stage ideas, too, like Sub-Zero, and Stunt, and the fruit-smashing stuff. Oh yeah, and there was the off-road, or I think it was called Rocky Road, but yeah, anyways. Angry Birds Epic is an even cooler game idea. It's absolutely oozing with personality. I know I've been saying that a lot in this, but the early Angry Birds games, man, they really are something special. But this game in particular is amazing. So it takes this really unique RPG style, and gameplay is simple, but ingenious. You simply drag a sphere from the bird you want to use to either attack the enemy or inflict a status effect on your fellow birds in the party. And the real interesting stuff is the gear system. You can collect gear by either crafting it or getting it out of a loot box, which is pretty lame, or buying it from Mighty Eagle's shop. So you do have a variety of options, but yeah, the gameplay is pretty simple and is ultimately just fending off waves of enemy pigs. But there is a lot of strategy to it, to pick just the right gear so you can block or resist certain status effects, or choosing when to heal or boost your party, but sacrificing a valuable attack while you do so, and choosing the right birds for your party. It's a whole thing. Different birds have different sets of weapon types, and they can also alter their class to change certain things to their weapons to do in the game. It certainly can get monotonous sometimes, especially when you're trying to get the right gear, but getting it isn't too much of a hassle. Those were two games I really wanted to talk about. I'm not going to cover all of the games. I have plans for that maybe in a future video, but this one is mostly just me relaying my experience. Now it's time for me to get into angry critic mode, because now I have a lot of quarrels to talk about considering what Rovio has been doing with Angry Birds recently. So first I should start with the purge of Angry Birds games from the App Store. This made absolutely no sense in the slightest. They removed Angry Birds Season, Space, Go, and Epic and replaced them with garbage tile matching games. Not exactly ideal. I mean, I understand why they removed Angry Birds Star Wars games, licensing and all that, but they had absolutely no reason to remove any of the other games. Angry Birds Go 2.0 turned the UI into static menus instead of a lively tree workshop it was before, and they reduced unlocking carts to a garbage, stingy loot box system. Yeah, I'm still salty about that, but anyway, the purge was a completely baffling decision. and the various fans of the games, such as myself, were left confused and in the dark. The good games that did survive the purge were Angry Birds 2, Friends, and Transformers and Bad Piggies, but that's pretty much it. Everything else they published from that point was tile matchers or obscure mediocre messes. Now recently they have brought back the first Angry Birds, which is nice, but Seasons and Space are still trapped in the void. Now there is Angry Birds Reloaded, which basically has the entirety of Angry Birds Space on it, which is nice, but the fact that it's stuck behind an Apple Arcade subscription is really lame. Not to mention how even more fragile that game is going to be when the service inevitably closes. But personally, I think I was disappointed in Rovio the most when they sacrificed their artistic integrity and made AI art. It's depressing to see how much they fell from grace. And the sad fact is, it's mostly self-afflicted. If they had focused on more creative endeavors rather than what's trending in the industry, not delisting most of their best games, and honestly, I don't have much else to say. They have been bought by Sega, but nothing has really come of it recently, but I guess we'll see. Until next time, like and subscribe and all that junk. Adios, and keep on moving forward.